But generally, what pocket would you look at with 30? Tell me 2 common tricks that people use on vendors. What do you think is the difference with Chinese buyers and local buyers for you? Here comes the questions everybody likes. If you had $6 to $8 million budget, what would you buy?
I'd probably buy at the moment, there's a property on Chamberlain Avenue.
Yep.
I think they're guiding 6. It's essentially a block of land. It's got a single level house on it. So I would buy that and then build a house for about 4 or 5, and I think you could sell it for probably about 15. So I think that's a good opportunity. And Chamberlain, you know, in terms of prestige, is probably one of the best non-waterfront streets in Rose Bay.
So basically, find something in Vaucluse or Rose Bay that has good potential is a sought after street.
Yeah.
Around that 6
Yeah. Almost like the worst house on the best street.
Yeah.
I think in that kind of budget, based upon where the market is today.
How much would you build for on that if the land was 6 to 8?
Probably 4 or 5. You probably know better than me, Sean.
I think so. Then you'll get 15 plus.
Yeah, I think so.
What about 10 to 15? Where would you buy?
42 Beresford Road. I'm biased.
Come on,
I'm biased.
Proper interview.
I'm biased, but I love that house.
Yeah.
I think it's such a stunning house.
Yeah. So, but what pockets?
I think Bellevue Hill.
Yep.
You know, again, what's amazing is in that range in Bellevue Hill, it's very rare to find something done. So you are probably buying something that has good bones. 59 Balfour Road, which I sold. 680 square meters, solid house, 5 beds up, 3 baths, multiple living areas. You know, buy something like that and then use those additional funds to completely shell the property and just completely modernize it. Then I think you're also going to have some profit in there to kind of step up to the next.
So preferably a cosmetic reno.
I think so, yeah. Easy. Because in order to, like, if you're spending that kind of budget.
I agree. 12, 13, spend 2 million. Happy days.
Yeah, correct.
What about 15 to 20?
I like deep Vaucluse. So like close to Nelson Park or close to Watson's Bay.
Just around water lifestyle?
Yeah. I know some people kind of go Vaucluse so separated from everything, but I think that's almost part of the appeal.
What about best capital growth, you reckon, for that range?
Probably Bellevue Hill, to be frank.
Yeah.
You know, like it's got a proven track record. If you look at some of the sales along Fairweather Street, it wasn't long ago those houses were like 6 or 7, and now they're selling for 20 plus.
100%.
You know.
Bought 8 Roslyn end of last year for 16.3. It's probably 20 plus now.
There you go.
Yeah. 30.
Leave Australia, go somewhere else. I mean, does that even get you a waterfront these days?
No.
Oh, no chance.
Maybe 15. What was that Fitzwilliam on that corner, little land one?
That's an amazing property.
Yeah, I love it.
That's unbelievable. I'd probably buy that.
I think so. I would. But generally, what pocket would you look at with 30?
Well, there's some houses along Victoria Road that have sold for that. You know, so probably along there. Again, I think Bellevue Hill, it's got a proven track record. You're going to see uptick in there. Or deep Vaucluse. Maybe Rose Bay. Like I think there's a house along Collins Avenue at the moment that's about that number.
Like Collins?
Yeah, I do. You know, you're on the beachfront there.
Yeah, but don't you think like it sort of smells around there?
Probably. Yeah. I was just throwing it into something else. Yeah.
So now on Unlimited, where's your ultimate location?
Space. No, get Elon on the case. The most amazing house I've ever been to, and I didn't appraise it. I actually went there for my year 10 formal. Was a house was Uke Lodge, which sold for like 130. It was 130, I think.
The Scott Maguire one, right?
Stephen Moss owned the house.
The U Lodge?
Uke Lodge. No, you're thinking of Fair. No, he did buy it. So the one that he bought, that is the most incredible property I think I've ever been to.
Reason?
Because you're so elevated and it's literally the view is like this.
Looks like you like Point Piper better than Vaucluse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you can afford it. It's different, you know. Yeah. So I'd probably buy in Point Piper, to be frank. Yeah. Because then I think you also have proximity to Double Bay. Yeah, which is nice. Yeah. And there's some nice kind of beaches, you know, 7 Shillings Beach and Redleaf Beach around there.
You might not like hearing this, but there's definitely a lot of tricks and I guess lies in the industry all the time. Tell me 2 common tricks that people use on vendors, agents use on vendors to get listings.
Yeah. First of all, I'm clean. I think that there's, it comes down to a lack of transparency. Yep. Like I think a lot of agents going into a listing will kind of over-promise and just agree with whatever the owner says in order to get the listing, knowing full well that that's not the reality.
I definitely know a few agents who do that.
But then I think also you've pigeonholed yourself because if they get the listing, they've said here and if the market's there, you know, so I would say that's one. With respect to buyers, I think it's just, again, lack of transparency, faking offers, you know, faking that there's someone about to make an offer, like those kind of dialogue I don't think work.
So in auctions, there's definitely some dummy bidders sometimes.
I have seen that in the past, yeah. And it never ends well.
And it's very, very common to have fake offers as well, hey?
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah. Is that a gamble?
I think it is. I think you're better off just being transparent. If you've got interest, tell the buyers about the actual parties that you've got, like, so they feel that it is genuine, because it is genuine.
You'll get caught sooner or later.
It always falls back on you. Yeah. Like, I think honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
With both respect to the vendor and the buyer.
Definitely.
And you as an agent or a buyer's agent would probably feel the same.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good property, and
if you want to buy a property, you're going to be honest with the agent. Well, they should give you the same courtesy.
I mean,
it just makes it an easy transaction.
It's almost like what I did 2 days ago. Like, I met a new client who was going to sign up with me, and they said they were looking at, 43 Derby, and I said around 12 or under that, it's going to be a great buy. Like, you don't have to sign with me if you're going to buy that, because I personally think it's a great buy. And they bought it yesterday night.
Well, there you go.
Happy days. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
It's a long-term game.
Totally.
Yeah. So obviously, Chinese buyers always get put out on the news, talked about in the East.
Yeah.
What do you think's the difference with Chinese buyers and local buyers for you as experience?
So my experience is that a Chinese buyer wants to see the competition. So they're pretty immovable until there's someone else involved who they feel they'll lose the property out to. And for example, 1A Hillside, which I sold towards the back end of last year, I had an offer from a Chinese buyer at 5.5 million, took it to the owner, that wasn't going to buy the property. And then another buyer who had been sitting on the sidelines, who was also Chinese, called me and said, look, would they sell it before auction? I said, look, as I told you, I've got an offer of 5.5. Then they offered 5.7. Then 5.8, and then it started going back and forth, and I ended up selling the property for 6.5 million. But it was only because of a result of having that competition. Whereas I think with a local buyer, they're a bit more straight in the sense that if they want to buy something, they will listen to the agent and just go to where they need to be in a way.
That's a very interesting point, because I think it's a culture thing, because knowing both cultures very well, I mean, the last 2-3 decades in China, there is a big lack of trust.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of scams. So I guess with Chinese, they don't really believe anything you guys say until they see it in black and white.
Yeah, correct.
And to build the trust is the hard thing.
I feel that as well.
So, I mean, it's pros and cons. Sometimes, you get a better result, but more of the times if you don't listen, you don't believe it, it gets sold.
See, I think local buyers they're wary of agents. I think generally just because of the reputation agents have, but they're a lot more open to listening if they want to buy a property. Whereas with Chinese buyers, they want to see that there are other people involved before making their move.
But sometimes they're very opportunistic. I guess, see if there's a chance to buy for cheap.
Yeah.
It's also because of how in the last 2-3 decades, some people in China became wealthy.
Interesting.
So I think, that's a culture thing. Awesome. Thank you for your time today. And definitely this year, looking forward to doing more and more deals with you.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Sean. Really appreciate it.
东区唯一华人背景 Tier 1买家中介，让华人在东区真正拥有优质房屋资源。